Godzilla is now in New York City.
Monster 01 and 02, commence the attack.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to Stomp This Way. And we are finally, Andrew, about caught up with Jurassic World.
No way.
Actually, we're caught up until Wednesday when the new one comes out, which this podcast may or may not be out by Wednesday. I don't know. This will be the second one of the week, so probably not. But it's probably already out by the time this podcast comes out. But anyway, yeah, so we're here today talking about Jurassic World Dominion. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. We had a productive day today, haven't we? We mowed Mom's yard.
Yeah.
We were going to go watch F1 today, but just the movie times didn't work out. And so we went to the mall instead. And I went to JCPenney and bought a bunch of clothes. And then we went to Vintage Stock and I found I didn't have, Dominion was not part of my Blu-ray collection that I had for the Jurassic Park franchise. It ended at Fallen Kingdom, so we found a reasonably priced. Actually, the sticker price was not that reasonable. It was like $35 for a used steelbook of
A 4K Ultra and a Blu-ray.
of the 4K steelbook of Dominion. But when he scanned it at the register, they only charged me like $17. So it was a pretty good deal. I'll take it.
Well, good.
I also got a new Godzilla Funko Pop, but
Oh, yeah.
that's for another time. But anyway, yeah, so pretty good day. Anyway, you want to hear some production trivia about Jurassic World Dominion?
Oh, yeah.
Well, did you know that this movie brought back the main trio, the legacy characters from the first film? So it finally, did the thing that the legacy sequels do. I mean, we'd had, Dr. Wu, obviously, and like Rexy and some dinosaurs and stuff, but this is the first one and then I guess Malcolm made like a very brief cameo in that last one, but this one did the thing. This was filmed from February to November of 2020. You know what happened in 2020, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, filmed in Canada, England, and Malta. So yeah, this film obviously was a troubled production because of COVID. I mean, the shoot took a long time because they had to shut down for several months. Because of COVID, the release was delayed for a year. They spent $9 million on COVID safety measures, apparently. They, basically took they would rent out a hotel for the cast and crew and put everybody in a bubble, and they had to test everybody daily and blah 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 blah. Reading on Wikipedia has a whole book about this, like I said for all the other movies, but just remembering some of the crazy stuff that they did like for COVID just brought back a lot of bad memories, like all the BS we had to go through. But yeah, anyway, I don't know how much COVID had to do with the flaws of this movie, but anyway. Trevorrow had another issue. Trevorrow had initially supported the idea, when they were coming up with this trilogy back in 2013, 2014. He wanted a different director for each of the entries, kind of like they were trying to do with the Star Wars franchise. And he was going to be the director of Star Wars Episode 9, but he, they say left, mutually parted ways on Episode 9. He got fired because he came out with, I think, that movie Book of Henry or whatever. I never watched it, but supposedly it's just absolutely atrocious. And so Lucasfilm got cold feet and was like, yeah, get out. So he's like, never mind, I need a gig. So I'm going to take back the reins of directing on.
That did not go well for Star Wars either.
No, it didn't work out for Star Wars, and it didn't. Preview my thoughts a little bit. It didn't work out for Dominion either, because he took the directing reins back for Dominion. And anyway, but Legendary was not involved in this film. They had co-financed the first two entries, but their contract with Universal had expired by this point. There are 35 dinosaur species featured in this film. There are 18 animatronic dinosaurs were created, which was the most for, I think, any Jurassic Park film up to this point. Trevorrow's original cut was 2 hours and 40 minutes, but apparently the studio had worries about audiences sitting for that long in the theater, or, not wanting to sit for that long in the theater due to COVID still going on. So their compromise was to cut a whopping 14 minutes out of the movie. They may not sit through 2 hours and 40, but they feel safe sitting through 2 hours and 26, right? I mean, to be fair, a solid 10 minutes of that is credits. So it's really only like 2:15, but.
So it'd only been like 2:30 in the retrospect.
I mean, it was 2:40. So, and now the official runtime is 2:26.
Oh, no, you said that.
Before credits. Yeah,
before
it'd have been about
credits.
2.5 hours, right about even. Yeah, without credits. So
it wasn't really mattered.
I mean,
much.
yeah, they basically stuck people in the theater 15 minutes longer. I don't think that 15 minutes is going to matter, but that's studio logic for you. They say it was probably because of COVID. It probably really had more to do with they just wanted to cram more show times on screenings. But anyway, they cut the first 5 minutes of the film, which was a release as a preview with F9. I don't know if you've ever watched it, where like the people are camping and then the T-Rex and the Giganotosaurus or whatever get into a fight. It's supposed to set up the idea that the T-Rex and the Giganotosaurus like have a rivalry or whatever. But anyway, this was nominated for several awards. I mean, obviously not at, like the Golden Globes or Oscars or anything, but nominated for several awards across the award circuit. The only win it had, according to Wikipedia, was most popular U.S. film in China, which it won at the Chinese American Film Festival. So, well, there you go. So, anyway, you want to read some box office?
Sure.
Okay.
This was released June 10th, 2022.
Yes.
Budget will reportedly vary from low as 185 million to north of 500 million, which would make it most expensive movie ever.
Yeah. So, yeah, the budget, like what I was reading, Wikipedia had a range listed from like 185 to 265 or something. I did Google it, and there are news articles out there that say that it was actually over 500 million, which I think the 500 million is probably closer to the truth. I mean, once you factor in the COVID and all that, and this movie looks expensive. I mean, they filmed in Malta. They shut down a section of the city so they could film, and
they had to rent out whole hotels.
Yeah, with the COVID precautions, I know that had to cost a lot of money, and the cast is big. I'm sure they had to pay a lot of money to the cast, and then to cater to them during all their bubble living. I'm sure.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it was a very expensive movie. But anyway, I'm sorry. Please continue.
Opening domestic weekend of 145 million. 46 million internationally in 15 early markets, and then 178 million in 72 markets in the second weekend. The total U.S. gross of 377 million and a total global gross of 1 billion. Net profit of 230 million, not billion.
Yeah, no, net profit of 230 million. So it's still made, despite all the issues and bloated budget and all that. It's still cleared in the green $230 million, which is why we're getting another one.
Another one.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, so I think I also read it was the third most highest grossing film of 2022. So obviously a big success, $1 billion movie, and that's why we are still getting them. But anyway, we're gonna listen to a trailer, and then we'll come back. We'll read off the cast and crew and this rather expansive plot summary. But a lot happens in this movie, in my defense. So Anyway, here's the trailer, and we will see you in a bit.
I wanted to show them something that wasn't an illusion. Something that was real. Something that they could see and touch. Creation is an act of sheer will. Life will find a way.
We can't keep her here forever.
They find her, we're never gonna see her again. We gotta protect her, that's our job.
Humans and dinosaurs can't coexist. We created an ecological disaster.
Ellie Sattler.
Alan Grant.
You didn't come out all this way just to catch up now, did you?
You coming or what?
We're racing toward the extinction of our species. We not only lack dominion over nature, we're subordinate to it.
Come back.
I always come back.
That's another plane, right?
Not exactly.
Don't move. Bigger. Why do they always have to go bigger?
All right. Well, thank you, YouTube, for that trailer. I mean, the trailer is pretty effective at getting your emotions, like when it opens with that John Hammond voiceover from the old movies and talking about life will find a way, as it basically plays the opening montage from the actual movie. This film is directed by Colin Trevorrow, written by Emily Carmichael, Colin Trevorrow, and Derek Connolly, music by Michael Giacchino, and starring Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, Sam Neill, DeWanda Wise, Mamoudou Athie, sorry if I messed that up, BD Wong, and Omar Sy. And the plot is more or less as follows. Following the events of Fallen Kingdom, dinosaurs are now spread across the globe. Owen, Claire, and Maisie live in a remote log cabin, but their peaceful life is upended when poachers kidnap Maisie and Blue's infant Beta. Owen and Claire embark on a mission to save them both. Meanwhile, Ellie Sattler is investigating swarms of giant locusts decimating crops across the globe. When she gets an invite to Biosyn from Ian Malcolm, she enlists her former lover and colleague, Alan Grant, to come along and help her solve the case. At Biosyn, Sattler and Grant discover that the company, headed by the shady Lewis Dodson, is behind the bioengineered locusts. Owen and Claire go to Franklin, now working for the CIA, for help. He leads them to Malta, where a black market dinosaur trade exists. It is in this black market that Maisie is to be handed over to Biosyn. Owen and Claire go, and a big chase scene ensues. They fail to retrieve Maisie, however, and in the end, they team up with smuggler pilot Watts, who agrees to fly them to Biosyn. Ellie and Alan are successful in getting a blood sample from one of the locusts, and while in the sublevels of Biosyn, they encounter Maisie, who is trying to escape. Together, with the help of Dodson's turncoat assistant Ramsey, they get on a tram that will take them out of the compound. However, Dodson catches on and cuts the power to the tram. The group gets out and finds their way to an old mine shaft where they are nearly killed before Malcolm rescues them. Owen, Claire, and Watts arrive at Biosyn, but Dodson turns off the air defenses and the plane is attacked by a flying dinosaur. They crash land and Claire is separated from the other two. It's not long before they reunite, however, and they also run into the legacy characters and Maisie. Working together, the group is able to retrieve Beta and restore power to the air defenses despite being hounded by the vicious Giganotosaurus. As the group, also joined by Ramsey and Dr. Wu, runs out into the courtyard to get picked up by Watts in a stolen Biosyn aircraft, the Giganotosaurus and Rexy get into a fight. Rexy, with the help of a Therizinosaurus, defeats the Giganoto and the humans fly to safety. In the closing scenes, Dr. Wu is able to reverse engineer Maisie's DNA to create a pathogen to kill the swarms of giant locusts roaming the globe. Ellie and Alan rekindle their romance, and Owen and the family return Beta to Blue as credits roll. Yeah, so, I think the thing that the last movie set up, the movie that was promised to us, the movie that was marketed in that trailer, was the idea that dinosaurs were going to be, living alongside humanity, and we were going to have to, deal with that. We get an opening montage, which I really like. It looks beautiful. They come up with some clever things where we get that stuff kind of where we'll see like the mosasaur like attacking a crabbing boat. Yeah. Like you would see in Deadliest Catch. It just got deadlier, but we see, I don't know, we see several things. We see
there's dinosaur trafficking now.
Yeah, we'll see a scene of Owen like I roll my eyes at it, but wrangling dinosaurs like a cattle rancher or something. Yeah. So we see some of that at the beginning of the movie, but and you're right too. Our opening scene with our first scene with Claire is there's like a Triceratops farm, and they're illegally breeding Triceratops or whatever, and they're her and Justice Smith and that other chick, those two like get like barely any screen time in this movie, show up just to like rescue a baby Triceratops or whatever. But it's what frustrating. One of the first thing I'll say that's frustrating about this movie is that it just kind of brushes over the idea of dinosaurs living among us. Like it's just not, and even Trevorrow, like reading some of his behind the scenes comments and stuff, he wasn't really interested in telling that story. He didn't want to make a monster movie where dinosaurs were like terrorizing people in the cities and stuff, which is the movie I think most everybody else wanted. But whatever. He's the creator, I guess, unfortunately. But so that's the first thing. But yeah, we open up, we see all that, we get introduced. Owen and Claire and Maisie, who they rescued in the end of that last movie, are living in a log cabin out in
the middle of nowhere.
Out in the middle of nowhere, outside of a logging camp or whatever. Mm-hmm. And we get a scene where Maisie goes into the logging camp, and there's a couple of brontosauruses or whatever, like holding up production. They had to lead them away with a flare or whatever. Yeah, very majestic. But and we get some character conflict. Maisie. I guess this is 3 years later or something like that. Maisie's a teenager now.
But she's not supposed to go past the bridge.
She's not supposed to go into town because obviously people are looking for her. But she's a teenager. She's angsty, and she wants to
explore the world.
Explore the world. She doesn't want to be trapped in this cabin with Owen and Claire. And
understandable.
If it was me, if I was Claire, I'd slap the British right out of her. But whatever. I'm not a parent for good reason, probably. But anyway, so we get some character conflict set up. Like,
you're not my real mom.
Yeah, we get the whole classic, you're not my mom kind of deal. Mm-hmm. And anyway. But of course, she gets kidnapped. And
on the bridge.
On the bridge. And also we learn that Blue has a baby. Yeah. She reproduced asexually, I guess, just like the 98 Godzilla or something.
Well, they explain it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's been a thing from the first Jurassic Park. Is like because they have different DNA of different animals that can reproduce asexually. So that's what she does, I guess. Mm-hmm. And so there's a baby Blue. They call her Beta, And Beta also gets kidnapped. And then we have the scene where Blue comes up to Owen. It's him and Claire getting ready to go get Maisie. And they made like a blood pact. She claws his hand and they make like a blood pact. He'll rescue his. And then even towards the end of the movie, Ian will be like, so you made a promise to a dinosaur. Whatever. Roll out. Yeah, and so that whole kicks off. And then about 20 minutes into the movie, we're going to get our series of introductions to our legacy characters. Laura Dern, returning as Ellie Sattler.
Oh, yeah.
She is out investigating. We get this big scene where these kids are wheat farmers or corn farmers or whatever. Out in the middle of, was it Nebraska or Kansas or something? West Texas, it said. West Texas. And a giant swarm of giant locusts attack
and destroy all their crops.
So Ellie Sattler gets called in, and I think one of the things that people make fun of, and that is, even we're watching it today, is extremely frustrating, is that there's basically two diverging plots for most of this movie. You have Claire and Owen doing their thing, and then you have Ellie and Alan doing their thing. The legacy characters, their plot that they get to investigate in this movie is a plot about giant locusts. And so much of this movie is devoted to this subplot about giant locusts.
The locusts don't only go for non-biosyn crops.
Yeah, and it's kind of it's a commentary on corporate farming, and there's a thing about corporate farm, these companies selling pesticides, but then also, selling seeds to pesticide resistant plants. So, that's a real thing. And so they're going to kind of sci-fi it up here. So we're like Biosyn, by the way, led by Lewis Dodson. Dodson and Biosyn were basically the main villains of the two Crichton Jurassic Park novels. Dodson was like in one scene of the original Jurassic Park movie, but they didn't play up the Biosyn bit like they did in the books. But watching it this time, sitting here watching it at home, the ratio of dinosaur to locusts wasn't as bad as I remembered it being, but it's still a lot of time devoted to this locust subplot. And the fact that they give this subplot to our legacy characters, who are our dinosaur, supposed to be experts. It's borderline insulting that this is what they're given to do, is hunt down these giant bugs. But it is what it is. So anyway, Ellie, she's investigating the locusts. She apparently hasn't. Ian Malcolm is now working at Biosyn as like a lecturer or whatever. Yeah. And he has basically invited her because he's trying to get her inside because, he knows the dirty secrets. Yeah. And she goes to Alan Grant, who's still digging up dinosaurs, and enlists his help to go to Biosyn. And so they're going to go and they're going to meet Ramsey first, who is like Dodson's right-hand man. One frustrating thing about this movie, I'm probably going to say some offensive stuff in this podcast. So if you don't want to be offended, turn it off right now. But one frustrating thing about this movie is that there's way too many characters. Because obviously they want to include our legacy trio. We also have our duo that's the star of the new movies, who is, Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt.
And then we have this other,
and then we have Maisie from the previous film. So we have our new trio and our past trio.
And then we get a pilot.
Yeah, but then and I don't mean to be a narcissist about these things. The studio decided, okay, there's too many straight white people in this movie, and so we're gonna get. First of all, we meet this Ramsey character who is, like I said, Dodson's right-hand man. And my thing first of all, I feel like almost everything that Ramsey does in this movie should have been given to Ian Malcolm, and we would have that way you'd accomplished two things. One, you'd have one less character in this movie that is bloated with characters, and two, that would give you more time with our original trio together. Now, granted, that trio, if you go back to that original movie, didn't really spend a whole lot of on-screen time together then. But this is supposed to be celebrating them and the whole Jurassic Park franchise, and I want more. I think when they're together, their dynamic is pretty good as a trio. I wanted more of them together, and I think Ramsey should have been just those parts should have just been given to Ian.
Well,
and
I think they were in the movie. They played off that it would have been too suspicious.
I mean, yeah, you could have said like it may have been too suspicious, but I think you could some minor rewrites. You could have fixed a lot of that. I think there has to be a lot more on the cutting room floor because there's a weird relationship between Dodson and Ramsey, and I feel like there's got to be at least a couple more scenes on the cutting room floor to establishing whatever kind of weird relationship that they have, whether it's more like a father-son thing or maybe Dawson's like trying to pressure Ramsey into some kind of weird sexual relationship. I don't know, but
I never got the sexual thing. I don't know where you.
I mean, it just I don't know because there's a scene towards the end of the movie. I'm jumping ahead, and I think we're supposed to have some kind of emotional reaction to it, where Ramsey, after pretty much everything has gone down, goes to Dodson, and Dodson's like trying to be like, oh, next time you'll have more power and all this, and then Ramsey basically says, I don't remember what his line was.
I'm not like you.
I'm not like you. I think that was supposed to have some kind of emotional impact, but unfortunately, that relationship is so underdeveloped. It's like, okay,
okay,
whatever. Which is a side effect. I'm sorry, it was a side effect of having too many characters in this movie. And speaking of too many characters in this movie, I do want to comment real quick. Dodson is, and I thought this as soon as I saw him on screen when I saw this in theaters in 2022. He is obviously Tim Cook. They made this actor look as close to Tim Cook as they possibly could.
Yeah.
So some very pointed criticism. I mean, at Apple, but just, at giant corporations like Apple in general, which was kind of funny. But anyway, speaking of too many characters, so Maisie's kidnapped, and Justice Smith, who shows up for like 2 scenes in this movie. I don't know why he came back other than contractual obligation.
Yeah.
He works for the CIA now. And Owen and Claire go to him, and he basically tells them, hey, well, we have an inside guy who turns out to be Owen's coworker from the first Jurassic World movie. And he's undercover in Malta. And there's a kaiju, there's a dinosaur black market operates in Malta. People
with
sell
like a fighting ring in the middle
yeah,
of it.
they basically sell dinosaurs on the black market and blah, blah. So anyway, so they're going to go to Malta to deal with all this. Yeah, and like you said, and even Trevorrow has admitted as much in some of the commentary. He tries to recreate like the Star Wars cantina scene.
Yeah.
And this, which I hate. I hate that he has to do that in a Jurassic Park movie. Like, why? But whatever. And he tries to do it with this Malta black market scene. They go in. There's a bunch of weird characters with weird dinosaurs and weird stuff going on. And there's like you said, a fight ring and
a fight ring,
the
like
music
a bar
and all
thing
this.
going on.
It's a very seedy place.
Yeah.
And we're gonna meet our other diversity quota character, this woman named Watts. Now, like you pointed out, and I agree, they did need some kind of pilot in this movie to get them to point A to B to C. Now, again, too many characters in this movie. I don't think we needed a pilot that played such a big role, but she is a strong female character of color who is also a lesbian. So we're checking off boxes here, baby.
Yeah.
And she is maybe my least favorite character in this whole movie. I don't know, because she's just, like one of those, like, we can't show any weakness in our female characters, especially if they're of color. And she's going to just be this badass, no questions asked, whatever. Anyway, so I will say, though, like, I think the sequence in Malta is probably, and it's not great. I don't love it. But once the dinosaurs get loose, it probably is the best scene in the movie, because it's really the only scene in the movie where you get people running from dinosaurs in a populated area, which is what I wanted this whole movie to be. You know?
And there's dinosaurs are they don't really talk about what they are. They're like,
well, she says the name of the dinosaur, and they're basically similar to the Indoraptor, whatever. They're basically engineered so that you mark somebody with a laser pointer and they'll go after them or whatever.
Yeah.
Feels a lot also kind of like a Fast and Furious scene where you have this, hot blonde woman who is, like a evil trafficker or, insert random character from Fast and Furious, bad guy from Fast and Furious 9 here. And, but she's trafficking dinosaurs and people. And her and Claire get into a fight and a chase. And one thing, offensive remark coming. One thing is kind of funny in this is they wrap poor. I don't care one way or the other. They wrap poor Bryce Dallas Howard in a lot of clothes in this movie because I think she put on a little bit of weight for this before this movie, and you can't ask women to lose weight anymore for a big blockbuster because that's sexist and demeaning. So they just heard their solution is to put baggy clothes on her.
Yeah.
I'm getting us canceled today. Anyway,
you're trying really hard.
I'm trying really hard. Now, to be fair, Chris Pratt probably had a bit of a belly in this movie too. But anyway, so yeah, big chase scene, and like I said, it probably is my favorite sequence. Once like Owen gets on the bike and is running from these raptor things through the city streets, and you go through the city center, and those two big carnivores are there eating people. And I mean, like I said, it's what I wanted this movie to be: dinosaurs in populated areas. And but this, like I said, Trevorrow wasn't interested in making that movie, so we get this one scene, and then of course in Biosyn gets Maisie anyway, and so they're gonna team up with this Watts character to get on a plane and go to Biosyn, because they do get the name of Biosyn out of that one woman.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back at Biosyn, our legacy characters, with the help of Malcolm, Grant and Sattler, with the help of Malcolm and Ramsey, are going to sneak down to the sub-level 6 and get a sample from these genetically modified locusts, and then they're gonna get attacked by them and barely get out. And then meanwhile, Maisie is Dr. Wu makes his return. Dr. Wu's just been kind of skirting around the fringes of these movies.
He's just always there.
Yeah, always there. But for this movie, they're gonna try to. I've never got the sense that Dr. Wu was remorseful. No, I mean, I did get the sense he was kind of evil. I mean, I don't know, evil. He was obsessed with creating dinosaurs.
He just wanted to make dinosaurs.
I never felt that he was remorseful for what he did. But all of a sudden in this movie, because he created these giant locusts, he's remorseful because they're going to wipe out the world's food supply. But
to be fair, he never tried to hurt anybody with his dinosaurs.
No, I never he was never bloodthirsty, but he was like, I'm gonna create dinosaurs no matter what the costs. And
he never wanted to wipe out the whole world.
No. But anyway, he's gonna be talking to Maisie, and then of course Tim Cook, or Dodson, whatever his name is, comes down, and while they're in a heated argument, Maisie's gonna steal Wu's little bracelet that allows people to get into the doors or whatever, and she's gonna set Beta free, and they're gonna run away, and Maisie's gonna run into Grant and Sattler, so they're gonna team up now. And Ramsey's gonna put him on this underground tram thing,
because Ramsey is not with Dotson.
No, he actually is the one that warned Malcolm about this evil thing, because we can't have our actual characters we care about doing anything of purpose, but whatever. So, anyway, and so they get on the tram thing, but Dodson, of course, he's just evil, and he's gonna turn the power off, and so they have to get out and go through this mine thing, and they get chased by dinosaurs, but there's a gate at the entrance to the mine. They can't get out of it, but Malcolm shows up, and actually Ramsey's the one that unlocks the gate, because again, can't have Malcolm actually doing anything heroic.
I didn't know there was gonna be a code.
I do like in Jeff Goldblum in this. Like I said, I like the legacy character, Laura Dern, whatever, but
Laura Dern's
whatever. But I do like, especially Jeff Goldblum. He's still got that witty, quippy remarks.
He gets the gay. He's like, a code. I didn't know there was gonna be a code.
I feel like he is just kind of ad-libbing a lot of it, and he's doing a good job. And I like Sam Neill back as Alan Grant. I think he recaptures the character very well. And Laura Dern's fine, whatever. But she's had a lot of plastic surgery. I mean, I'm sure all of them have had a little bit. But anyway, so now they're together. Our characters we care about are together. And soon, meanwhile, Owen and Claire and Watts are in her plane, and Dodson turns off. I call it the air defense system, but it's some kind of like, I guess, air deterrent system, some kind of frequency that keeps the flying dinosaurs flying low or whatever. He turns it off
away from the planes.
Yeah, he turns it off, and a big pterodactyl thing attacks the plane, and they only have one parachute. But as one of our favorite YouTubers would say, barely an inconvenience. The
air parachute is
attached to Claire's seat, so they
ejector seat.
They eject Claire out, but then no problem. Owen and Watts survive unscratched this very improbable plane crash into the ice.
To be fair, they did survive an improbable plane crash in the first movie. Or the third movie. Jurassic Park 3.
Oh, in Jurassic Park 3. Well, yeah, I guess, but they weren't really in the air when they crashed that. They got hit just as they were leaving the runway. And
yeah, but
it was, they probably would have died from that too. But whatever, that's a silly B movie. This is a silly B movie, but anyway, and they weren't totally unscathed because as soon as they crashed, they got eaten by some of them got eaten by the
dinosaurs,
the Spinosaurus. But anyway, so they get out of the plane unscathed, and one thing they do in this movie is we'll talk about in creature design. They actually have feathered dinosaurs in this movie
because they made them pure
dinosaurs. They get attacked on the ice by this one dinosaur, and then they have the scene where it goes under the ice and is swimming under the ice while they're walking on it and is getting them, but they survive, and blah blah blah. Claire gets chased by this big dinosaur thing. I said its name in the plot summary that has the long Wolverine fingers or whatever, and she gets underwater and hides from it. I guess that works, whatever. And
that was a very odd scene watching it.
Yeah. The size, I guess you could say water, the light reflection or refraction or whatever. Claire looked disproportionately large compared to the dinosaur head when it was roaring down at her, and they kind of had the camera go into the water. But anyway, yeah, so she survives, and eventually she'll get attacked by the venom spitting dinosaurs at this little observation tower thing, but Owen and Watts show up just in time and save her, and now they're reunited. And
Owen grabs the neck of the
and it just so happens at the same time that the other characters, the legacy characters and Maisie, are roll off the side of a cliff and roll right to them, and so they're all united because they crash their Jeep because Dodson is starting to panic about people tracing the locust back to Biosyn. So he incinerates the ones they got in the lab, but they break out of the containment thing and go up the ventilation thing and out of the roof. And so now there's fire locusts falling dead, starting forest fires all over the sanctuary or preserve or whatever.
He's then Dodson gets even more panicked.
Yeah, and then he panics even more. And he's like, uh-oh.
Starts beating chairs and throwing
they've got him to be this very I don't know, very awkward guy, and he's not very physically imposing or anything. And he kind of has a little fit, and it's kind of funny. But when and Ian at one point before he left came in and basically told all the workers just I lend my place to this cachet, and I think it gave their false impression that Biosyn isn't rotten to its core. This whole thing, and made him mad. But anyway. So all of our character, an hour and 45 minutes into this movie, I looked at the time marker. Our main characters are all finally together.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we still have like 30 minutes of this movie to go. So anyway, 20 minutes, I guess, if you take out credits. But this is where we're going to get, we've seen it a couple of times throughout the movie, but the Giganotosaurus, which if you look at the spelling, it looks like Gigantosaurus, but it's the largest carnivore to ever walk the earth or whatever. And it attacks them at this sky tower thing. I don't love the staging of this scene because it feels like the Giganotosaurus does a whole lot of like slowly walking around and pacing as the characters like run around when it could easily have eaten them at any time. But they're finally going to get up into the tower and it's going to, of course, attack it and knock it over or whatever. But they're going to get down into some like underground tunnel thing or something. And then they're going to pop up and Ramsey's magically there at this point. And then we're going to break off into different groups again because Alan and Owen and Maisie are going to go get Beta, and Laura Dern and Claire are going to kind of recreate Laura Dern's famous scene from the first movie where she had to go reboot the power grid or whatever.
Didn't reboot it, they redirected the power.
Whatever. They're recreating that scene. Mm-hmm. And then Ian is, instead of John Hammond walking them through, and is Ian walking them through it with some funny commentary.
Yeah.
And they did all that. They managed to, because one thing that's so stupid about this movie is the hand motion now like works on every dinosaur.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt uses it like 5 times in this movie. Like those dinosaurs in Malta, he was able to make them pause with it. He's able to make Beta stop with it. Happens a lot in this movie, but whatever.
It works there. When you see an animal, you just gotta hold your hand out and act as sort of.
Yeah, if you ever get in the jungle and a tiger like comes at you, just hold your hand out. It should work.
Don't show fear.
Don't show fear. So they do retrieve Beta. They trank it and he ties it to his back, and they do redirect the power and put the air deterrent system back on. And there's some funny Ian like, is that a dinosaur on your shoulder? Yeah.
You made a promise to a dinosaur.
So now they've got to get out. So they all run out. Watts has went and commandeered one of those biosyn chopper things.
Yeah.
And they run out to the courtyard. But with the forest fire, they've ordered an evacuation. They've brought all the dinosaurs back into the building.
Yeah.
Dodson has gotten into the tram thing to try to escape, but when they redirected the power, it cut the power to it, and he gets killed by the little venom-spitting dinosaurs.
Yep.
And anyway, so they all run out to the courtyard to try to get to the chopper. But we haven't had a kaiju fight yet in this movie, so hold on to your pants. We're going to try to recreate that scene from the first Jurassic World movie. This time is Rexy and Giganotosaurus.
And
Rexy just... Wasn't it so kind of Rexy to like just go and like perfectly position herself in front of that water fountain thing to recreate the Jurassic Park logo? But
and that
so Rexy gets her butt kicked.
Yeah,
Rexy gets her butt kicked at first, but then the human characters like distract the Giganotosaurus for a little bit, and Rexy's able to get back up. And she just like she teamed up with Blue, she teams up with the here. Let me repeat the name. The Therizinosaurus. And and basically she shoves it into the claws of that thing and kills the Giganotosaurus. And Rexy is queen once again.
Yes.
So she's able to maintain her queen status because she knows teamwork. She can team up with other carnivores. Pretty sure.
She's an apex predator.
Yeah, sure. And the humans get away. Blah blah blah. And now the government, the United Nations, converts the Biosyn Island into a reserve for the dinosaurs or whatever, and
all that good stuff.
And then we have Dr. Wu. He also met up with our characters, and there were some funny bits from Ian Malcolm, like, no, not this guy. It's always this guy. And but he's remorseful or whatever. And Wu really gets the big character arc in this movie because he wants to use Maisie's DNA to figure out one thing I was very frustrated with. This movie is a mess, by the way, basically from start to finish. They decide that they want to give Maisie a mom. So they kind of retcon it a little bit so that Maisie isn't just a straight clone of her dead mother. Her mother is actually the one that kind of created her like a test tube baby.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I don't know, whatever.
Impregnated
herself because she wanted a kid, but
she didn't want it.
Her mom had some kind of genetic defect. She died young, but she wanted to be able to fix that. So she impregnated herself. But anyway, so we have this like whole home video section where Wu is showing Maisie. And I don't know. I guess you could explain it in a way that doesn't mess up the continuity. But Wu says she was raised on your mother was raised on Island B with the rest of us. And they showing like this home video. The way Wu says it, we're to assume, I think, was taken on Site B.
Yeah. But that video is like from way back.
Which was from the past. Yeah. But then the way it like cuts, it almost felt like she was filming in the same lab. I guess she wasn't. But the timestamp says 2007. And obviously, Site B was abandoned way before the second movie, which took place on Site B, and that was in 1997. So I don't know. I was like, I feel like they're trying to like really.
I don't think they
working hard.
I don't think they meant you to think. I don't think they meant you to think that was still on Site B.
Yeah, I mean, not that it really matters. Most people won't even pay that close attention to it, but whatever. You know, cool, I guess. Anyway, yeah, so movie's basically over. Wu gets his redemption arc. He figures out how to introduce a pathogen into these locust swarms and kill all the locusts. And I guess Ellie and Alan are rekindling their romance. They did keep Jurassic Park 3 in continuity because she mentioned her two kids and Mark from that third movie. And
her and Mark is no longer together.
They're no longer together. And anyway, so they're back together. They go to talk to the UN or whatever, and then we get our final scene. It is kind of touching. You know, a lot of people really love the Blue Owen relationship where, you know, I mean, it's kind of stupid. He made a promise to dinosaur or whatever, but he goes and return. They go as a family, Owen and Claire and Maisie, and return Beta to Blue, and you get that final shot of Chris Pratt where Blue comes and looks at him, and they stare at each other for a little bit before he gets into the car and Blue runs off. And it's like, oh, that's the last time we'll see him together. And then we get a closing montage of, you know, the dinosaurs again, like, you know, doing things that obviously would never happen, like Triceratops herds integrating with elephant herds, and the mosasaur like
never know that
hanging out with humpbacks, even though the mosasaur would most definitely eat those humpbacks.
You never know.
And you know, the pterodactyls like joining geese flocks or something, but
you never know. Whatever.
And which again, I wanted that to be the whole movie, is like dinosaurs in our world. Instead, they decide to go to do the whole island thing again when they go to Biosyn Island. But you know, whatever. Yeah, that's the end of the movie. And then 10 minutes, I saw like a true 10 minutes of credits on this bad boy. But anyway, creature design?
Creature design.
Well, like I said, we've got a few things. First of all, we have the Giganotosaurus, who they call it the main villain of this movie. I think really the locusts are the main villain of this movie, but whatever. It's this big Tyrannosaurus looking dinosaur.
Which actually did exist.
I guess it's a real dinosaur. I don't know. But it's a little bit bigger than a T-Rex. It's got more kind of a narrow snout versus the broader like T-Rex snout. You know, it's got the rough crocodilian skin, kind of greenish in color, I think. But it's bathed in red light for most of this movie, so you can't really tell.
Then there's the long fingernail guy.
There's the third of the foot whatever source I said. Yeah, and it's basically like it's a feathered dinosaur. Like I said, they try to introduce more feathered dinosaurs. And yeah, it's got these 3 really long fingers that it uses for weapons. At one point, kind of funny, it just like takes a deer and just like swats it to the side.
Yeah.
And it's kind of got like this, almost like this bird beak thing.
Then we have the thing that chases.
The thing on the eyes has got like this reddish orange feathers on it, and it kind of looks like he's like a raptor with feathers. We got the ones that chase them through Malta, which basically look like oversized raptors. Rexy's back. Still looks like Rexy, believe it or not.
Blue is
that
back.
thing that attacks their plane looks like an oversized pteranodon. Beta is a little cute little baby velociraptor.
Blue is back, of course.
Blue's back, of course. I mean, again, I like the creature design in this movie, just like all the Jurassic Park movies. I mean, except I guess I complained about the Indoraptor, but the dinosaurs look good. I like the idea of bringing in actual like feathered dinosaurs in this movie. Is a neat idea. The Giganotosaurus, I mean, it's nothing like that blows your socks off or anything, but it functions as a big bad, I guess. They don't focus on the locusts. We didn't talk about the locusts.
They look like locusts.
They're giant locusts, and I hate every scene they're in, and I hate everything about them. I hate that they are such a big part of this movie. Like one scene of overgrown locusts attacking people, and that being like a brief mention of like, oh, they're eating all the crops would have been fine. The fact that that's like the main subplot of this movie is honestly just baffling. You're going to, a 2.5, this movie is way too long, by the way. And 2.5 hours, and you're going to spend like, this movie is supposed to be celebrating like the whole Jurassic Park franchise. It's like this epic conclusion, which obviously it's not, but, and you're going to spend so much of it on locusts. It's just quite baffling. But anyway, sorry.
Giant locusts.
Giant locusts. And then effects. I mean, again, they had extra time. They talked about it in the behind the scenes stuff. They had extra time to work on the visual effects, and it shows. I mean, just in terms of cinematography, like especially at the end and the beginning, the montages at the end and beginning of the movie, a lot of beautiful stuff, like of the dinosaurs and these different kind of geographical locations. Like I think they're chasing dinosaurs. He's wrangling the dinosaurs in the Sierra Nevada, in the North Sea where the mosasaur is. You see the safari, you see swamps. I mean, just a lot of beautiful like on location filming of these locations with dinosaurs digitally added in. And there's a lot of, even when they get to Biosyn Island, I think the movie almost always looks great. I'm not going to complain about that. Colin Trevorrow, pretty good at the visual filmmaking. And the CGI again, nothing to really complain about there. I think it all looks pretty good. The animatronics, there are more animatronics in terms of numbers of dinosaurs that have animatronics built for them. Obviously, they don't use the animatronics nearly as much as they did in like the first or second movie. No. But the animatronics look good when they're on screen.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, again, there's a couple of scenes where you can clearly tell the actors are standing in front of a green screen. I think the worst looking scene in this movie is when they're in Malta and Claire catches up to that woman in that apartment or whatever. And that first scene where like that one raptor thing comes into the apartment and jumps at Claire, like it looked pretty bad. That was like the one scene I was like, ugh, that did not look good. But there's a couple other scenes where it's pretty clear they're in front of a green screen. But for the most part, it looks really good. Nothing really to complain about there. And then score, once again, Giacchino does a good job of repurposing Williams' themes and his own themes from that first Jurassic World movies to great effect. Some really every time the trio shows up, they like play a few notes from some Williams themes, and then he knows how to use his themes and Williams' themes to evoke emotion, and I think he does a really good job with that. So score is good. I like the score.
Score is good.
But anyway, you want to do some final thoughts?
Sure.
Go for it.
Well, like you said, this movie it's interesting. It's not the greatest thing ever put to film, but some of it is enjoyable still. All the stuff in the Malta, all that stuff is cool. Them being chased by those dinosaurs and watching those bigger carnivores eat people and running around. Even the canteen, the underground fighting ring stuff looks cool. Some of it looks a little too much like Star Wars Cantina.
Yeah.
Like a Jabba the Hutt palace.
See, he thought he was going to be making a Star Wars movie. And so he was like, I'm going to get one thing in here. One thing, damn it.
It's gonna be a mixture of Jabba's palace and cantina scene. The cantina.
Cantina scene, yeah.
And you know, I like all the acting in this movie is not terrible. The people know what they're doing, and they all really good actors, and they play their roles to what is good, just up to standard. You know, I like Jeff Goldblum as always. He's Jeff Goldblum. He knows how to play his character.
He does.
Yeah.
His character is him. It is Jeff
And
Goldblum.
basically
Ian
just-
Malcolm is Jeff Goldblum. And Joe Goldblum is Ian Malcolm.
Yeah, I feel like he just plays himself in most of his movies.
Pretty much every movie I've seen Jeff Goldblum in, he is the same character.
Even in those commercials.
Oh, definitely in the commercials. I mean, everything Independence Day, The Fly. The Fly was probably his most, like performance, but still basically the same character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Thor movie that he was in.
Yeah.
It's always the same guy.
It's always the same. And, you know, I like him.
Yeah, I like it. So.
I like it. So he's doing something right. And, you know, I like Alan Grant as always. And, you know, Ellen is there.
Ellie Sattler.
Ellie
Yeah.
is there.
Yep.
As always.
As always.
And all the other new ones, you know, like Owen and Claire, Maisie. They're all there, you know. I don't mind any of those characters. They do what they're supposed to get the plot where it needs to be.
Yeah.
And some of the side characters in the movie, though, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, there's like I said, too many characters. But anyway, please continue.
Yeah, you know, score is good. I like the score. I can't complain about the score. It's one of the few consistently good things about this movie.
About this trilogy, yeah.
Yeah. About this whole trilogy. And, you know, dinosaurs, as always. I love a good dinosaur.
Yeah.
You know, they all look good. I like the feathered one they try to introduce.
Yeah.
Even though they don't do a very good job at it, I'll still like them.
Yeah.
You know, long fingernail guy. Cool looking.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say that word.
Well, the thing.
The Therizinosaurus?
Therizinosaurus.
Therizinosaurus. That's a word.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, the effects in this movie are good. They had a lot of time on their hands to do a lot of stuff, so they did exactly that.
Yeah.
So I think I'll give this movie, I'll give it a C minus.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, listen, I've listed all my complaints. I mean, the movie's a hot mess from start to finish. It's got too many characters. It shoehorns in our legacy trio, but then gives them a plot about locusts to investigate, which is just downright insulting. And this movie, way too much of this movie's bloated runtime. It's too long. It's the longest Jurassic Park movie, and it's too long. They give them chase this locust subplot, which I hate this locust subplot. It's just not what I want to see in a movie about giant dinosaurs. Yeah, I mean, and then a lot of it is a lot of been there, done that. You know, I wanted a movie about dinosaurs in populated areas, and instead we get a couple scenes of that. Like I said, the Malta sequence, which is probably the best sequence in the movie after we get past the whole cantina scene bit. But then we go back to that Biosyn Island and we do the whole thing, same thing we've been doing over and over and over. But yeah, so I have a lot of problems with this movie. My question coming into this movie is, you know, is it as bad as Fallen Kingdom? I gave Fallen Kingdom a D+. And, you know, I don't know. I hated the second half of that Fallen Kingdom movie. This movie, I hate parts. I hate a lot of it. But there's also, you know, there's some fun dinosaur chase sequences and stuff. I don't know. They're both bad. I think this one, honestly, to me, is less cohesive. I mean, I don't think either of them are super cohesive, but this one's just less cohesive because it's just trying to juggle so many things. But I'm going to give it the same grade. I'm going to give it a D+. So, but where I rank them, you'll have to find out in our final episode when we review Jurassic World Rebirth.
Ooh.
Ooh.
See how that movie turns
Is it going to
out.
be a true rebirth? Because this franchise needs a rebirth. This franchise needs to die, frankly. But, you know, whatever. But
money.
I don't have any news because we just recorded a podcast last night. So nothing new there. As far as the schedule goes, I did take a glance at our schedule. So obviously next week we'll be doing Rebirth, and then we'll be doing G-Fest week. Probably no episode G-Fest week. I wouldn't expect one. And then when we get back, what we're going to do, we're going to start back with Ultraman. We got just a few more Ultraman movies to get through, starting with Ultraman R&B, or however you say it, R/B, the movie, Red and Blue, whatever. I don't think it stands for Red and Blue, but... And then we're basically going to alternate Ultraman movies and the Rega trilogy after we get back from G-Fest. So...
I like the Rega.
Do you? They're something to behold.
I enjoy them. They're not good.
They're not good movies, but
they didn't make them to be good movies.
They're independent, low budget kaiju movies. They are
goofy.
What they are. They're goofy, but that's what we're gonna do after G-Fest. So look forward to that.
We might see some of those during G-Fest.
Maybe we'll see there's some SRS Cinema movies debuting during G-Fest. Maybe we'll get some ideas for the podcast. But other than that, don't forget that you can always contact us at stompthisway1954@gmail.com.
And you can find our website at www.stompthisway.wordpress.com.
And that's right. And you can also find us at Facebook. Always welcome to interact with us on Facebook at Stomp This Way. So anyway, that's all I got. As always, I'm Aaron.
I'm Andrew.
And we'll see you next time.